Good afternoon. Welcome here, and also for all those that are Zooming in today for this presentation, I just wanted to let you know you'll be automatically muted. And if you have a question, you can type it in and we'll get you an answer, but we didn't want to have that cross conversation. It can be kind of confusing for everybody. So on behalf of Senator Mike Crapo, sorry, I have to stay on this mic. Ugh. On behalf of Senator Mike Crapo, Senator James Risch, Congressman Russ Fulcher, and Congressman Mike Simpson, we would like to welcome you to the Service Academy Day. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Unfortunately, Academy coordinators Julie Smith from Senator Crapo's office and Terry Seymour from Congressman Fulcher's office was unable to be here today. I would like to introduce you to Josh Sorensen, Academy coordinator for Congressman Mike Simpson, and also Michelle Jarvis back here, and Elbia Christensen, representing Congressman Fulcher's office. And let's see here. Also here this afternoon, representing our military academies, we have Lieutenant Colonel retired Scott Greco. Where are you at? You're back there in the back. And Captain Carly Connor, representing the United States Naval Academy. There she is. And Colonel retired Ralph Getchell, representing the United States Air Force Academy, back here in the back. And Captain retired David McDaniel, representing the United States Merchant Marines Academy, right here. All right, well, let's get started. Can you click it from your side? It stopped clicking. Oh, here we go. That might be you. All right. So the congressional nominations staff, I mentioned their names earlier. Julie Smith is your Academy coordinator. You'll be working a lot with these people all throughout this process. So Julie Smith works for Senator Mike Crapo, and she's located in his Coeur d'Alene office. My name is Frances Hasenerl. I work for Senator Jim Risch, and I'm located in the Lewiston, Idaho office. Terry Seymour represents Academy coordinator for Congressman Russ Fulcher, and she's located in their Coeur d'Alene office. And Josh Sorensen, Congressman Mike Simpson, is located in the Idaho Falls office. All right. And I'll go ahead and mention our Academy liaison officers for the state of Idaho. So United States Military Academy is Lieutenant Colonel Scott Greco. United States Naval Academy is Captain Todd Severance. He's located in this area. And the United States Air Force Academy is Lieutenant Colonel Dan Bodine, and he's located on the eastern side of the state. And the United States Merchant Marine Academy, Captain David McDaniel, is located in Idaho Falls or Pocatello, David? Idaho Falls, very good. All right, we have a video here for you to watch.
The Air Force Academy at Colorado Springs, the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, the Naval Academy at Annapolis, the Coast Guard Academy at New London, and the Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point. These are America's service academies, the five-pointed star. Each year, thousands of cadets and midshipmen enter our nation's service academies. They come from all walks of life and bring with them a variety of experiences. The common thread is to be challenged at the highest levels and serve our country in the most noble of professions. Cadets and midshipmen at America's service academies accept a lifestyle that is unique and demanding. Though they differ in terms of their history and missions, the military academies have more in common than most people think. The service academies all offer a rigorous 4-year program. Their main focus is on developing leaders to serve our nation in peace and during conflict. Every cadet and midshipman receives a fully funded education, including tuition, room and board, and health care. And upon graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree, they are commissioned as officers in the uniformed services. Each academy is rated as a top undergraduate college. All offer majors in engineering, math, science, and the humanities. When cadets and midshipmen graduate, they take with them lasting friendships. They forge lifetime bonds under the intense pressure and the high moral and ethical standards demanded by our service academies. They are prepared to rely on each other to get the job done. Our academies are not only focused on providing a first-class education, but on training and leading. Cadets and midshipmen are a part of a very special team, America's team. These are the young men and women we turn to in order to maintain our national defense. It's a big job, but these academy grads are very well prepared. We look for well-rounded candidates, individuals who demonstrate character, academic prowess, physical toughness, and the potential not only to excel at the academy, but also to excel as officers after graduation and likely make a career of the Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, or Merchant Marine. A healthy balance of these assets is considered by our admission boards. Cadets and midshipmen are taught by men and women who are top in their field. The ratio of students to teachers is among the lowest in the nation. The primary mission for instructors and professors is classroom teaching. Equipment is state-of-the-art. The unique challenges are unmatched. No other school offers the range of opportunities available at a service academy. In keeping with a famous quote by General Douglas MacArthur, that on the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds that on other fields, on other days, will bear the fruits of victory. All cadets and midshipmen are athletes, and every athlete is challenged. The academies share a belief that the competition and teamwork learned on the playing fields reinforce the team spirit needed to get the job done. At the service academies, there is both an officer and undergraduate chain of command. Cadets and midshipmen have a chance to develop and practice personal leadership skills. To be a leader, you must learn to follow. That's why upperclassmen have a great responsibility in training lowerclassmen. It's about becoming a leader who will inspire respect and obedience even under the most trying of circumstances. Our cadets and midshipmen are taught how to keep their heads when things get tough, to make the right decision the first time. They see what is required and make sure it is carried out, learning through their mistakes. The principal rule of conduct is based on honor. Cadets and midshipmen do not lie, cheat, or steal. Just as they learn to use the most advanced technology in the world, these young men and women also develop an inner confidence that keeps them pointed on the path of honor and integrity. In the process, cadets and midshipmen join a long and distinguished line of academy graduates. These graduates inspire on the strength of their vision and the courage of their team. Service Academy graduates excel in every sphere of influence, from general and admiral to government leaders and captains of industry. Some say that much of the history taught at the academies was made by graduates who went before. Our country expects a great deal from our cadets and midshipmen to make them the best in their chosen field. Academy graduates prove worthy of this assessment by the way they perform their postgraduate service opportunities. It all comes down to this: for those who want to reach their potential, they have the help they need to find it. America's Service Academies, the 5-pointed star. In 1954, just 7 years after the founding of the Air Force, President Dwight D. Eisenhower directed the establishment of the United States Air Force Academy. Located near Colorado Springs, Colorado, the academy nestles against the eastern slopes of the majestic Rocky Mountains with a campus covering 18,000 acres. Our proud heritage includes the accomplishments of military aviation pioneers like Billy Mitchell, Hap Arnold, and Benjamin O. Davis. Air Force Academy alumni include a Medal of Honor recipient, a congresswoman, and several astronauts. The mission of the United States Air Force Academy is to educate, train, and inspire men and women to become officers of character, motivated to lead the United States Air Force in service to our nation. To that effort, we strive to attract highly qualified, diverse candidates from varying backgrounds who will strengthen and enrich the cadet learning environment and prepare our graduates to lead a global expeditionary air force. The Academy is guided by the Air Force's core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do, and based on the 4 pillars of military training, academics, athletics, and character development. Air Force Academy cadets hone their leadership skills through a variety of airmanship, immersion, exchange, and summer training programs. Whether it's participating in the world's premier aviation program, with 90% of the soaring instructor pilots and free fall parachute instructors being cadets, traveling across the globe for one of our many immersion or exchange programs, or shadowing an active duty member at an operational Air Force base, cadets take these experiences well into their Air Force careers. Each cadet may choose from over 30 academic majors and several minors with courses in engineering, basic sciences, social sciences, and humanities. No matter which path they decide, USAFA cadets are prepared for a future in the Air Force. Since every cadet is an athlete, all will participate in either intercollegiate, intramural, or club competition at the highest levels. Nearly 24% of our cadets compete at the Division I level. And we are rated #1 nationally for athletic opportunities for women. As a future officer, character development is a key part of an Air Force Academy's cadet experience.
You exited that bus, you took the first step that every member of the Longview Line is taking. Do not disappoint those that came before you. Standards are set much higher for you now. You've chosen to sacrifice your personal pride for your brothers and sisters in arms.
The Academy is proud of having more than 200 hours of character development training courses covering human relations and leadership, along with many other emphasis areas. After 4 challenging yet rewarding years, Air Force Academy graduates earn a Bachelor of Science degree and a commission as second lieutenants. The education and training of America's future leaders is paramount. Let the United States Air Force Academy be the path to joining the world's premier air, space, and cyberspace force. The United States Military Academy at West Point. The name evokes feelings of pride and achievement. Located on 16,000 acres of quiet hills, woods, and fields in the beautiful Hudson River Valley, West Point has been training the Army's future leaders for more than 200 years. Although located in the tranquility of the Hudson Valley, New York City, the home of Wall Street, Broadway, and Lady Liberty, is less than an hour's drive from West Point. Since the Military Academy's founding in 1802, West Point has defined leadership in academics, in physical fitness, in military training, and in selfless service to the nation. Consistently ranked among our nation's top colleges and world-renowned for its leadership development, West Point combines cutting-edge technology and educational innovation in state-of-the-art facilities at this historic site. Both past and present, The long gray line is full of warrior scholars, dedicated to our nation and inspired to serve a cause higher than themselves. The core curriculum at West Point stresses the fundamentals of engineering and military leadership. West Point was our nation's first engineering school, and its engineering programs are still ranked among the best in the country. But cadets can choose from among more than 35 majors, including computer science, information technology, foreign languages, and economics. Opportunities are also available for research and study, both across the United States and around the world. In addition to semester abroad and military academy exchange programs, cadets might spend time in the summer on advanced individual academic development projects, such as researching renewable energy in Uganda, studying rotorcraft aeroelasticity in Hampton, Virginia, researching virtual reality cognitive performance in Marina del Rey, California, or participating in language and cultural immersion in countries like France, China, Tajikistan, or Brazil. Fitness is a key component for every Army officer, so naturally the Military Academy places a high value on physical training. So whether it's competing in one of the 29 intercollegiate club sports, participating in intramurals, or representing the Army Black Knights on one of the Army's 25 NCAA teams, every cadet is an athlete. Even for those who come here prepared to face a challenge, the road to becoming an Army officer is a demanding one, and it should be. Because upon graduation, all cadets receive Bachelor of Science degrees and commissions as second lieutenants in the U.S. Army. To prepare cadets for the challenges they will face as Army officers, leaders in today's Army and the world, the Military Academy hones cadets' abilities within a strong moral, ethical framework. They are taught how to think, not what to think. And when they emerge as Army officers, they will be soldier scholars, critical thinkers, and creative problem solvers, prepared for the extraordinary responsibility faced by leaders of character in service to our nation. For more than 2 centuries, the United States Military Academy at West Point has developed leaders of character, inspired to serve, providing an education rich in military excellence, steeped in tradition, and strengthened by moral, ethical principles. This is not just the Army's academy. It's America's academy, a place that embodies the time-honored values of our nation. This is the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. On the banks of the Severn River and Chesapeake Bay, midshipmen earn a college degree and a commission as an ensign in the U.S. Navy or a second lieutenant in the U.S. Marine Corps. The Naval Academy emphasizes academics, physical training, leadership, and character to develop students from around the country to be leaders for our nation. Attending college in an environment of proud naval history and tradition, balanced with cutting-edge technology, makes the Naval Academy a truly unsurpassed experience. Our students choose from 24 majors in 3 concentrations: humanities and social sciences, math and sciences, and engineering and weapons. The Naval Academy is routinely ranked as one of the best engineering schools in the country, and all of our students earn a Bachelor of Science degree upon graduation. Outside the classroom, every midshipman is an athlete, competing in varsity, club, or intramural sports. The Naval Academy is the 3rd largest NCAA athletic program in the country, with over 30 Division I sports available. More than 120 extracurricular activities are available to accommodate a variety of personal interests, from musical ensembles and service organizations to academic and cultural clubs to adventure activities like skydiving, scuba diving, and mountain climbing. Midshipmen live in one of the largest single dormitories in the world, Bancroft Hall. Living and operating in units of about 150 students known as companies, midshipmen develop a tight bond with their fellow shipmates that lasts a lifetime. Midshipmen dine in King Hall, which feeds family-style meals to the entire student body of over 4,000 students in one single setting. Directly outside the main gate of the Naval Academy lies the city of Annapolis, the bustling state capital of Maryland. This exciting and energetic sailing city is full of unique restaurants, musical venues, and shops for students to enjoy.
From this exceptional educational environment in Annapolis, graduates of the Naval Academy go on to serve as surface warfare officers, submariners, pilots, special warfare operators, and Marines in exciting locations such as San Diego, Seattle, the Atlantic coast of Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida, as well as Hawaii, Japan, Italy, and numerous exciting locations around the globe. No matter where in the world they end up, officers from the Naval Academy apply the lessons learned in the past to shape the future of the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps. If you want an excellent education followed by an exciting and rewarding career leading sailors and Marines, consider the United States Naval Academy, where we produce leaders to serve the nation. The United States Coast Guard Academy is located approximately halfway between New York and Boston on a picturesque waterfront campus in New London, Connecticut. Its mission is to prepare leaders of character to serve as fleet-ready officers in the United States Coast Guard. This is accomplished through rigorous academics, athletic programs, and military training. As the smallest of the military academies, cadets benefit from one-on-one personal interaction with our faculty as they prepare for one of 12 fields of study in engineering, marine and environmental sciences, applied mathematics, management, or government. The Coast Guard Academy's academic programs have been nationally recognized by the Princeton Review, U.S. News and World Report's Best Colleges, and Forbes.com. More than two-thirds of our cadets participate in one of 23 varsity athletic programs. Our Division III small school standing, club, and intercompany sports ensures that all cadets have the opportunity to enjoy and contribute to their sport of choice. The military preparation, which includes summer training in the operational Coast Guard, is intense as cadets prepare for one of the fastest tracks to command in the military. It's America's only military service where all duty assignments are open to women. The U.S. Coast Guard, America's shield of freedom, is tasked with protecting the safety and security of our nation, environment, and economy. The Coast Guard Academy, offering a tradition unique among America's military services and a degree of excellence surpassed by no other college or university. An elite education, a noble profession, an honored tradition. The United States Coast Guard Academy. The United States Merchant Marine Academy, the world leader in maritime education and training. Our mission is to educate and graduate licensed merchant mariners and leaders of exemplary character. Leaders who serve America's marine transportation and defense needs in both peace and war. The Merchant Marine Academy was the first service academy to matriculate women and continues to emphasize leadership, diversity, unity, and respect. Our values are simple and direct. Service, honor, and excellence tell our story. A story with over 70 years of history in producing the best merchant marine officers and maritime leaders for America. Merchant Marine graduates abide by the motto, Acta non verba, deeds, not words, and are leaders who exemplify the concept of service above self. With 95% of the world's products delivered by sea, the health of maritime industry requires quick, safe, and efficient cargo transport around the world. Graduates of the Merchant Marine Academy can be found leading every level of this transportation network, supporting our country's economy and defense needs. The Merchant Marine Academy is the only service academy where 3 graduation credentials are earned: a Bachelor of Science degree, a United States Coast Guard license as a deck or engineering officer, and an officer's commission in any of the armed services or with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, also known as NOAA. Midshipmen spend 300 days training on board United States merchant ships traveling to 7 different continents during their sea year and receive a salary during their at-sea training. All Merchant Marine Academy graduates have a service obligation. Graduates must serve for 5 years in the United States maritime industry as merchant marine officers on commercial vessels supporting the nation's commerce and defense interests, or 5 years of active duty in any of the nation's armed services. Those choosing to serve as merchant marine officers also have an 8-year service obligation to enlist in any reserve unit of the armed forces. We are the only service academy that offers this choice. With small student-to-faculty ratios, world-class simulators and classroom labs, and a fleet of over 100 training vessels, the Merchant Marine Academy is in step with emerging industry trends and technology. Programs of academic, professional, and regimental innovation help ensure 100% job placement at graduation. The Merchant Marine Academy offers a dynamic learning environment with a vibrant campus culture that includes broad-based athletic programs offering 22 varsity sports at the NCAA Division III level and 6 club teams. Located on 83 acres of waterfront property along Long Island's Gold Coast, the Merchant Marine Academy is just a short distance from New York City with its many cultural, social, and entertainment opportunities. The United States Merchant Marine Academy is a challenging and rewarding place to live, learn, and work. Join us and chart your own course. Cadets and midshipmen entering America's service academies represent the finest students our nation, our education system, our parents, families, and communities can produce. They stand out as leaders rather than followers. Cadets and midshipmen prove that they're worthy of our nation's investment in time, effort, and money by the way they perform their duties as commissioned officers. America's service academies are training our future leaders, the men and women who will take charge of America's treasure, our sons and daughters in the armed forces. Our nation thanks them for their dedication, self-sacrifice, and professional excellence while serving our country in times of peace and in times of conflict. If you elect to apply to an academy, we guarantee that we will challenge you, we will assist you in stretching for excellence, and will motivate you to raise the bar of personal performance. Our nation deserves nothing but the best in its officers. This is our challenge and our commitment to the people of this great country. We would be pleased for you to become a part of the cadets and midshipmen of the 5-Pointed Star.
Long ways up here. After watching this video, I just wanted to mention that the United States Coast Guard Academy is the only academy that you do not need a congressional nomination. So I would encourage you to apply there as well as the others. We're going to go over these topics. I think I'll just go ahead and move to the next slide. Let's not waste your time on that. All right, so basic eligibility requirements. You must be at least 17, but no older than 23 as of July 1 of the year entering the academy. The U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, you must be at least 17, but no older than 25 as of July 1 of the year entering the academy. You must be a U.S. citizen, be unmarried, not pregnant, have no legal obligations to support children or other dependents, and you must be a resident of the state of Idaho. All right, we always say basic qualification, but these are important qualifications. You must be of good moral character, strong academic record, demonstrated leadership potential, physically and medically fit, and must be prepared to be committed to a military lifestyle. All right, these might be a little bit hard to see, but these are the websites for the 4 service academies that accept nominations from your congressional representatives. Of course, you can Google this information. All right, so there are two types of two types of nominations. A congressional nomination can come from any of your congressional representatives and the vice president's office. The second type is called a military service. This one is sometimes confused. It's called the presidential nomination, but it does not actually come from the president's office. It is a nomination that you, if you are a military, child of military, you can apply for this directly at the academies. Every candidate is eligible for the 4 congressional nominations. So nomination versus appointment. We want to make this very clear. Selections made by authorized sources, congressional or military, and appointments are selections made by the individual academies after you receive a nomination. A nomination does not guarantee an appointment. Now, with saying this, we want you to apply at the academies right now, as soon as possible, and apply for your congressional nomination, because it's important to get all of the responsibilities that you need to do at the academies. You need to get those things moving, especially your medical, your fitness tests. Those can take time. We've had some confusion in the past where we had a couple students who thought, oh, well, I have to wait till I get my nomination before I can apply at the academy. You're way too late. So you definitely want to apply now as soon as possible if you're a junior this year. Okay, so our application's open, and I'll go into this on another slide, but we open March 1st. We're done November 1st for that year. Okay. All right, so again, the nomination process, if you want the vice president nomination, you just would go to their website, and they have it all planned out on their website for you there. You can go to each one of your congressman's website, and we each have a service academies page that's very detailed, and then you can reach out to each of your academy coordinators as well. All right, so each of our offices, I'll talk about the similarities, and then we have a couple of few small differences, but not much. So we all have an initial online application, which provides general information, including extracurricular activities, et cetera. They're found on the websites. For deadlines, both senators and congressmen, you must submit as soon as possible. Final deadline is November 1st. Of your senior year. So also contact the academy, complete a candidate questionnaire. Each of us have a release of information form, which allows us to talk to each other, talk to your academy liaison officers, et cetera. And Senator Risch's application is just a little bit different. Our entire application is an online application, and it can all be done online. We also have a small interview as part of our process. The other congressional offices have that initial online application, and then they want you to send them a hard packet of all of your documents, your letters of recommendation, et cetera. So that's the only differences. Okay, in each of our applications, we require a personal letter or an essay, recommendations, 4 of them. One is either a principal or a guidance counselor recommendation, and then 3 personal recommendations. Some examples are your counselor, teacher, principal, employer, minister, pastor, priest, youth group leader, coach, or family adult friend. But we also like to throw in, 4-H leaders, any clubs where you have guidance and you can show that you have leadership. Also, we require transcripts, SAT and ACT scores. With saying that, we want you to get that application in as soon as possible. So when you take your SAT or ACT, you want to submit it with your application. But if you, and we encourage you to take your ACT, SAT tests more than once, really give it a shot, because you want to get the best scores you can get. And once you submit your application, we can accept extra SAT scores, and we will super score your best scores for that application. You have to have a proof of Idaho residency, and again, submit by November 1. Late applications are not accepted. And with saying that, again, after you submit your application, if you have another test that's getting closer to the deadline and you'd like that score to be included, let us know that, maybe a week after the due date, you're going to have another score for us, and we will take that. But you have to have your application, the rest of your application, completely done. Okay. So this is, it seems like a small thing, but it's kind of a big thing because it helps you if you follow these guidelines. So academy preferences, we each have a slot on our application where we ask you what your first, second, third, fourth choice is, which academies you want to go to. So due to the competitive nature of the nomination process, you may receive a nomination to the academy of your second, third, or fourth in case. This order should be the same order you have listed on the senator's forms. So for example, if you tell me your first choice is Navy and your second choice is Air Force, when I visit with Josh, it better look the same. And I'll explain why that's so important. So Idaho has been very, very successful in getting a lot of students from Idaho into these academies. And the reason why we've been so successful is we work together. So each congressman has the ability to nominate 10 students per slot. And sometimes I might not have enough Navy slots, but Josh might have enough. So we work together, the 4 offices. So that's why this academy preference in order is so important. So just be very consistent with it. All right, so this is a little bit about our process. So again, we open that application March 1st. By November 1st, we close the application, we grade all our packets, and we notify the students, usually right before Christmas is usually, we send out a letter informing them if they received 1 nomination or 2 or who they got it from, we let them know. For this part, so again, I kind of mentioned this. So each congressman gets to nominate 10 students for each vacancy at an academy. With saying that, every 4 years, as it rotates around, one of us might end up with an extra slot at one of the academies, which this past year, I believe I had 20 for Navy, and I could help out my other academy coordinators because I had extra. So that happens every once in a while. And also there are other slots, recruited athletes, top 100 students in the nation. I mean, there's all these different slots. And they have to have a congressional nomination for those slots as well. So sometimes that's why we've been successful getting so many Idaho students in, is again, it's important that you guys share with us, communicate with us, let us know what's going on, because that helps you in the long run. Okay. All right, so tips for success. Start early. Again, deadline March 1st to November 1st. Open a file at the academies. Consider all the academies, including the United States Coast Guard, if you have any interest. Take the SAT and ACT early and often. Seek as many nominations as possible. So we encourage you to apply at all of our offices. It helps your odds. Attend an academy day, which here you are, and an all academy ball. They hold that down here in Boise every year. Visit the academies or attend a summer seminar. I would suggest that you go onto their websites right now and check out the dates for their deadlines to apply for some of those seminars. It gives you a chance to travel to the academy and see what it's really like. Join a Civil Air Patrol or cadet program if you have one available. Also apply for ROTC. That's another way you can become an officer and get paid to go to school, apply for a scholarship there. With that, we have students that didn't get in their first year. They really wanted to. They were a great student, and they just didn't get in. We encourage them to find a school that has ROTC in their area or wherever they want to go and apply for ROTC. They may get into the school and end up loving ROTC, which is great. And if they stay there, that's great. But we encourage them to apply again for the academies. It's quite often that people get in a second time that they've applied. And another thing I want to share is sometimes when a student doesn't get the appointment, the academy will offer them a prep school opportunity. Those are golden. If an academy offers you a prep school opportunity, take it, take it, take it. That means they like you so much, you might have fallen short in maybe a STEM class or something because you went to a small school, whatever. But they like you so much, they're willing to invest in you and give you that opportunity of a prep school. And I haven't seen it in the 10 years I've done this, I haven't seen anybody who got into prep school that didn't get into the academy the next year. So definitely don't give up. And that was the last thing on my slide is don't give up. Keep trying it because this scholarship is roughly $500,000 scholarship. And the academies do pay you a stipend while you're in school. You know, it's not as high as a freshman, but as you go through the college and you raise up in the ranks, they raise your stipend. It's a phenomenal education. It's incredible. So don't give up or you can always check with us. You can always check with the academies to see if there's an area that you could build up stronger when you apply again. And I know this information can be very overwhelming, especially when you think about applying at 4 congressional offices and 4 academies, right? I always see parents' eyes are like, oh my gosh, and students' eyes are like, oh my gosh. So I'm gonna show you how it's really quite easy and much easier than you think. So we all require the same requirements, you know, your letters of recommendation, all of that. So save all your documents, and as you get ready to build your packets or your applications, you can just upload those documents into Senator Risch's application. And then you just print a copy for all of us, but make sure that when you're printing a letter of recommendation that's addressed to Congressman Simpson, make sure that letter gets sent to Congressman Simpson. Don't send it to Senator Risch's office. So I want to tell you, pay attention to detail because we're looking at you as students who will be pushing buttons in the future. And we want to make sure that our students are paying attention to detail. And one last thing I wanted to share about your letters of recommendation. A lot of times students will ask somebody they think is important to write them a letter of recommendation. That's all well and good, but if they don't really know you personally, that doesn't really help you. We prefer that you get letters of recommendation from people who actually know you. They know your hard work ethic. They know how honest you are. They know your leadership. They're people who really know you. So those letters of recommendation are far more advantageous to you in your process than it is to invite someone to write one for you. And we can tell when they're writing off of a resume because you'll see the letter and it looks, oh, okay, so this matches the resume. So I'm not sure that they really know this student. So that's some little helpful tips. And I'm going to be moving the program now to introduce you to some of our academy representatives, and they'll get to share with you about their experiences and about their academies. And then after that, we'll just mill around and you can ask us questions. If you have any questions about anything I presented, do you want to ask them now? Is there any questions that I can help you with? All right, no worries. All right, I will introduce our academy representatives. So how about we start with our military representative, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Greco. And you will have to speak in the mic for our Zoomies.
Hi guys, I'm Scott Greco. I'm a West Point grad from the class of 1999, and I currently volunteer as the state coordinator for the West Point Field Force. So series of, a set of graduates across Idaho. And all we do is help applicants to get through the application process and coordinate with our great congressional representatives on the nominations. I don't want to, number one, most of us would say we're not recruiters. West Point doesn't need my help in filling about 1,200 slots per year. They'll be just fine without somebody like me. We're here to help those who are interested in obtaining admission to the academies, go through the necessary steps to make that happen. So I will say, I'll show, the mission of West Point is to build, educate, train, and inspire the Corps of Cadets to be commissioned leaders of character, committed to the Army values, and ready for a lifetime of service to the Army and nation. And then the mission of the Army is to deploy, fight, and win our nation's wars by providing ready, prompt, and sustained land dominance as part of the joint force of all U.S. military. So that's all I'm going to say about those two. The rest of my pitch is really just for service academies in general. If those two things resonate with you, come talk to me and we'll talk about becoming an Army officer through West Point. But first, how many of you potential candidates are a little intimidated by the application process? Right? A lot of people are. I just want to give you some numbers to back up what Francis just said about how fortunate you are to be Idaho residents and to be under these congressional offices that work so closely together to help expand opportunities. So for West Point, we typically get 80 applications opened across Idaho. Of those 80, we typically have 30 candidates finish that application. And out of those 30, 9 typically get an offer from West Point. Those are ridiculous odds if you compare those to candidates in New York, Texas, California, and so on. You are very fortunate to be an Idaho resident, and if you want to sign up to serve as an officer, this is a great state to allow you to do that. Another question, how many parents are here or guardians that in this age of kind of specialization in terms of career fields have some concern about getting a top-notch Ivy League degree, but then having those 5 years of military service and then trying to potentially start a career after that? Okay. Well, here's what I'll tell you on that one. When these individuals, when graduates commission, they're making about $70,000 a year with zero experience straight out the door of these academies as military officers. If they do 2 additional years, they can then obtain the post 9/11 GI Bill and get essentially graduate school for free and use that as an amazing transition point if they want to pursue a civilian career instead of continuing in their military career. few 29-year-olds out there in the United States have that level of responsibility by that age that these military officers get. And I'll just tell you, West Point just last week was recognized by the Wall Street Journal as one of the top 5 institutions in the country in terms of high-paying careers in tech, finance, and consulting. Final points on West Point, what kind of distinguishes them from the other academies, because they're all top-notch leadership institutions, amazing academic institutions. We're kind of in a little bit of a glory years period for Army football. We've won 5 of the last 7 Commanders and Chiefs trophies. We've had 102 Rhodes Scholars at West Point. That is second only to 3 institutions. Any guesses? Harvard, Yale. We're tied with Stanford and Princeton. So second only to Harvard, Princeton, and Yale for number of Rhodes Scholars. And then finally, in the summer of 2025, for those of you that are juniors, West Point's going to open a $138 million cyber and engineering academic center that all those majors in those 2 fields, which is really the bread and butter of the academies, will be able to enjoy. So I'll be happy to answer questions afterwards over here. Thank you guys for listening.
And I'd like to introduce Captain Carly Connor, representing the United States Naval Academy.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Captain Carly Donner. I'm actually not an official Naval Academy representative. However, I'm a graduate of 2018 from the Naval Academy, and I'm also the Marine Corps ROTC Scholarship Coordinator. I'm actually based in Salt Lake City, but I cover Utah, Idaho, and Las Vegas. So a little bit about the Naval Academy is that a lot of people don't know that Naval Academy graduates have basically 4 big basic communications or communities that we graduate to. That's going to be naval aviation, submarines, surface warfare, which is basically ships, and the Marine Corps. And then those are like the big 4, right? And we also have a very, very small number of allocations for medical, dental, SEALs, and a few other smaller, very, very small categories. I would say as a graduate from the Naval Academy, I joined the Navy because I wanted to, see the world, get out of my shell. I'm originally from Colorado, not too far away from here. And like all of the service academies, they really offers a great opportunity to do things that you would never have an opportunity to do in any other industry or college. And completely debt-free, no worries. Like you could go there with absolutely nothing in your entire career for the rest of your life, whether you stay in for 5 years or 20 years, is all set up for you. So I'll be over here to talk about any of those services. But my big thing, being also an ROTC scholarship coordinator, is to follow up from that, is that applying is part of the process, right? Most students, honestly, the biggest issue they have is they don't apply. Or of those who do apply, they wait until the last minute to apply. And they assume that the deadline, they can get that in, they'll be fine. My recommendation for all of you, no matter which academies you're applying to, is apply as soon as possible and continue to work on yourselves to increase whatever it is you may want to improve on all the way up until that deadline. Because if you wait until the last minute to apply, you don't give yourself any time to improve upon your scores, get those recommendation letters from the best people, all of those sorts of things, and get advice. So apply early, apply often, and also keep your options open, right? A lot of people start this process thinking, I want to go this specific route because of X, Y, Z. But then as they start to talk to more people, they may realize that their personality may fit one service or another better, and that's okay, right? So I would just advise you guys all, look into all of the services, and talk to as many people as you can, both in the service and out of the service, to get a feel for what each community is like. Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to hear from the Air Force Academy, Colonel retired Ralph Getchell. Did you like how I did that? I kind of.
First of all, I want to thank Frances and her staff for putting on this event every year. It's such a great opportunity. At the service academies right now, for the incoming classes, most of the appointments have been awarded or they're checks in the mail. That process for the next class is well underway. And so the timing on this is perfect because pretty soon it will be time to start applying to each of the academies. I think if you looked at the video, if you were struck as I was by the similarities between the academies, you'll find there's more similarities than there are differences. The differences are that each academy comes with it the history and the culture that's unique to that service. And in the time in that service academy, you really, it becomes an organic thing, and you become part of that long gray line or that long blue line. Academy offers great opportunities both there and afterwards. I will restate what some other folks have said, which is it is the best scholarship opportunity in the country, period, dot. Okay? Books, tuition, room, board, uniforms, medical, dental care, insurance, and a stipend, prestigious bachelor's degree, and a job afterwards. I just defy you to beat it. Now, a cadet or midshipman who's there will tell you that they're earning every nickel in the process because it's tough, and it's meant to be tough. But I was there as a admissions liaison officer. I was there 2 years ago to swear in one of my candidates who's now offline C-46 transports. And another one of my candidates I saw during basic training last summer. And they are out doing great things. One difference I will make with the Air Force Academy is our job is not only to motivate, educate, and train officers for the Air Force, but for the U.S. Space Force as well. And so some of our facilities are unique to that operation. And we have, for example, one of only 2 transonic wind tunnels for research in the entire country. If you go down to the engineering branch, you can see a wall that's full of plaques for patents that have been awarded to cadets doing research while they're cadets at the Air Force Academy. So the level of education and training there is really second to none. I'm a 71 grad, so I've been through the process. I'm a Falcon Foundation scholar, so they said I needed some additional work before I got started out. Been through that process. All of us admissions liaison officers representing the Air Force Academy here in Idaho are assigned to the various high schools in the area. And so when you go to the academyadmissions.com website and say, hey, I'm interested in applying to the Air Force Academy, one of the questions will be, so what high school do you go to? And once you indicate that and do that online, I get an email and says, hey, you've got a student at Mountain View or a student at Capital or Cole Christian or name the high school. And that starts the process where we can start working with the candidate and the moms and dads to answer the questions that you have to help you start on what we hope is going to be an amazing journey. Okay. Thank you very much.
And now we'll hear from Captain David McDaniel for the United States Merchant Marine Academy.
So one of my biggest fears when I come to one of these things is that Francis is going to ask me to go first. Because I can say what Carly said and what Ralph said and what Joe, right, Joe? Scott, I'm sorry, and what Scott said. So what they said applies to the Merchant Marine Academy. A couple of things that might be a little bit different about the Merchant Marine Academy. First of all, who's ever heard of the Merchant Marines? I mean, what do we do? Do we sell Marines? We tried that once and they resisted. They have guns, you know. No, we are sometimes the Merchant Marine is called the fifth branch of the military service because as you heard in the video, 95% of everything at some point moves on water, which means if you want to get guns, bombs, bullets, tanks, whatever, you've got to do it in what I call an iron bottom. You're going to put something in a ship and send it somewhere. I'm old. I'm a 1977 graduate from the Merchant Marine Academy, and I remember this statistic from my freshman or plebe year, as we called it. It was the year of an Arab-Israeli war in 1973, and the Air Force was very pumped up. Too bad Ralph just left the room. They were very pleased with themselves. They got on some C-5As and they shipped all the Sidewinder missiles in the world to Israel. And they were very proud of the fact that they moved so much of this cargo in such a short period of time. And part of that statistic was also how much fuel they delivered. But the problem was for every gallon of gas they spent moving a gallon of fuel to Israel, they spent 2 gallons of gas flying it there. On the Merchant Marine Academy, that ratio was flipped by about 100 to 1. So that's why my Merchant Marine Academy is important. President Roosevelt in 1938, 1939 recognized that war was coming, and he recognized from his experience as Secretary of the Navy during World War I and his friendship with Winston Churchill that the only way to win an upcoming war was going to be through a strong Merchant Marine, and that's why the Merchant Marine Academy was founded. So we graduate 3 things, as the video noted: Bachelor of Science degree, license as a U.S. Coast Guard Merchant Mariner, and finally a commission, traditionally in the United States Navy. But one of the things that the video noted is we have graduates every year that go into all the services. So if I looked at the last round of graduates, I think we had about 8 to 10 people go to the Army, 8 to 10 people go to the Air Force. I don't think we've ever had anybody go to the Space Force. We usually have 15 to 20 go to the Marine Corps, 20 to 30 go to the Coast Guard, and go to the Navy. So about half of our graduates every year go on the military side. The other half choose to remain civilians and become civilian merchant mariners. So that's kind of the Merchant Marines pitch, my sales pitch, if you will. The thing that's unique about the Merchant Marine Academy is that point. Just a couple of things that I find interesting. I call this marketing dynamics. The video for West Point said what? We're only a short 1-hour drive down Interstate 87 to New York City. What is it, about 50 miles? Kings Point is only 8 miles from Manhattan. But it is not a short 1-hour drive. It's more like 3 hours stuck in traffic. Take the Long Island Railroad. So we're that close. I can stand on the steps of the administration building and see the Manhattan skyline on a clear day. During 9/11, during the attack on 9/11, our midshipmen actually got on board the Academy's training ships, and we went down to Manhattan, and we were evacuating people from Lower Manhattan and taking them over to Staten Island. So that's kind of where we are relative to New York. A couple other things that I usually find with candidates that's useful to mention at this time. You're getting ready to take a math test. How many of you study for your math test? Okay, not everybody's raising their hand. Do we have a bunch of nerds in here? How about an English test? You know, you're got a test coming up on Shakespeare. You're going to read Shakespeare? Yeah. Okay, to get into a military academy, you have to take a physical fitness test. How many of you are going to plan on studying for that physical fitness test? Good. I don't know how many candidates I've run into that they get ready for that physical fitness test and they don't pass. I had a kid a few years ago, big guy, state shot put champion, lineman, five or six varsity medals in shot put or football. I don't need to study for no physical fitness test. Gets out there. The physical fitness test is running, jumping, throwing a basketball, a 100-meter dash, a 1-mile run. You got to study for that. I'm sorry. Study for your physical fitness test. Also get out there and apply early. So the senator's or the congressman's office can get you into that medical pipeline, because sometimes you think you're healthy, you're only 17, 18 years old, but sometimes they'll find something wrong with you and it'll move you into a special category or delay you. One of the reasons I went to the Merchant Marine Academy is because I thought I was in perfect physical condition. I wanted to go to the Naval Academy. Sometimes we joke at the Merchant Marine Academy, we're all Naval Academy rejects. But I was told I needed glasses, and Merchant Marine Academy let kids in with glasses in 1973. They didn't necessarily let kids in with glasses into the Naval Academy. So I got moved off for medical reasons. You want to get that medical evaluation done early. So what else can I say? A couple other things to consider when you're applying, and whether or not you're going to put down Merchant Marine as that #1 choice or not. How many students at the Naval Academy? 4,500. Merchant Marine Academy, Coast Guard Academy. I'm going to put in a plug now for my arch rival, the Coast Guard Academy. We're both around 800 students. So you're from Idaho. You're probably from a small high school. So think about that small school, large school dynamic. Which one are you going to fit in better? I'll also put in a plug sort of sideways here for the Coast Guard Academy. You know, we heard about the Army-Navy game, right? Nobody cares about the Air Force Army game or the Air Force Navy game, right? But at the Merchant Marine Academy and the Coast Guard Academy, we have a rivalry that is just as intense as that Army-Navy rivalry. So you get that same thing at the small school. But when you go to a smaller school, chances are you're going to know your classmates better. And this is kind of the neat thing I discovered about the Merchant Marine Academy versus, say, the Naval Academy, is if you want to be on a varsity team, you're going to be on a varsity team. You may have a few more people competing for that varsity slot at a 4,000 person school. But if you want to be on a varsity team, you're going to be on a varsity team. It's going to be NCAA 3, but you're going to be on a varsity team. Now, here's the truly important part. Why do you want to be on a varsity team? Because you're going to be practicing on Saturday morning when the rest of the regiment of midshipmen is standing inspection. You're going to be off at practice, right? So just another thing to consider, small school versus large school. I'm right over here. I've got a lot of information for you. I'll finish up by saying we are all good. All the schools are great. So just carefully consider where you want to go. And I know I'm working uphill here in Idaho. We have such a strong maritime tradition that everybody seems to want to go to the Air Force Academy. So if you're going to want to go to the Air Force Academy, I say fine, but always put Merchant Marine Academy down as #2, even though I'm holding up one finger. Last thing I'll note is that complete your application process. I was on the phone with the admissions department at the Merchant Marine Academy about 6 weeks ago, and I think across the state, maybe we nominated 35, 40 people this year for the 2 slots we have. We could have done a maximum of 40 nominees. We only had 2 people in the state of Idaho complete the application process. So the good news for those 2 people is they are going to get in. The bad news is that there are usually some slots that don't get filled from other small states, Wyoming, Alaska, sometimes California, New York. There aren't going to be any Idaho kids filling in those other slots because nobody in Idaho filled out the process. So I don't care who you got a nomination for and where your first choice is, but make sure you complete the application process and follow through, because you never know what where you're going to end up Captain mentioned have a backup plan, right? You said have a backup plan. Your backup plan is the ROTC. For all of you guys who want to go to the Air Force Academy or West Point, your backup plan should be the Merchant Marine Academy. And I'll give you another example from personal history. Who's ever heard of a guy named Jerry Brown? Was governor of California. In 1973, 46 years ago, when I was going through 51 years ago, I'm sorry, when I was going through this process, my congressman was running against Jerry Brown for governor of California. So how do you make a splash in California when you're running against the Brown family? Anybody want to take a guess? You nominate a woman to the Naval Academy and West Point about 6 years before it's kosher. He made a splash in the newspapers, but none of his other nominees to West Point or Annapolis got into the academies that year. But I was talked into putting down as a choice, I want to go to the Merchant Marine Academy. I got a nomination to the Merchant Marine Academy, and that's where I ended up. So I'll stop talking now and let Francis take over.
All right, well, thanks again for coming out tonight or this afternoon. I'm sorry, I've been doing a lot of these and they're in the evening. So yeah, thanks again for coming out and stay and ask questions. We're happy to help you, and please reach out to all of your congressional representatives, your academy coordinators. We really love our job. This is a really, it's a wonderful part of our job. We all wear different hats for the senators and congressmen, but this is a very special part of our job. So thanks again for coming out.